First of all, I wanted to show you this opening screen. Now, obviously, I'm using my login, but I wanted to explain that I have chosen to use the state login for Virginia. I manage 4 states. It's Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Maryland. And in Virginia and in North Carolina, we have worked out with the state and with our corporate office to establish some courses that have been mapped directly to the state's standards for certain courses. So I'm going to demonstrate that. And I thought it would be nice for you to see a state that actually has that completed already. And I know Kay has, she manages Alabama, and she has examples of courses that have been mapped to the Alabama standards for certain courses. So she can also demonstrate that if you needed her to. But I also want to point out on this opening screen that we have this green chat button. It's iCEV Coach, Live Chat Help, and that will take you directly to our corporate office, the customer support team there. All you have to do is fill in your name, your email, and what you want to chat about. And this would be great if you have a subscription to iCEV, and during the school day, if you have a really quick question, fill out this form and they are immediately available to you. You're not rerouted to a robot. Most people have you talking to robots these days. But our team will answer your questions, and if they don't know the answer, they'll find the answer for you. They have won multiple awards for their response time, just being really helpful and getting to the customer support requests very quickly. So I do want to give a shout out to our customer support team. As I scroll down, you'll see that I have a list of courses, and I went ahead and set up a course called Career Investigations prior to this workshop, but I'm going to show you how to set up courses. But I also set that up to explain that the course that is required in Virginia, all students have to take career investigations prior to graduation, and it is up to the division when they take it in middle school. So it can be 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever that middle school grades are. The division gets to choose when they take it. So I chose that as our example today, so I can show you how I set that up. So I'm going to click on Add New Course Certification, and you'll notice that immediately it tells me the step-by-step instructions. So I'm going to follow those, and I'm going to enter a course title. And again, I'm going to set it up for Career Investigations. But so that you'll know that the one I'm setting up now is for this presentation, I'm going to put the word presentation at the end of it. I'd also like to point out that because I am a rep, I have access to all 7 of our sites. So, I need to narrow it down to what I'm demonstrating for you today. So I'm going to choose Career Exploration. Most of you, if you have a subscription, you won't have this area right here. You'll subscribe to one of our sites, and then you'll automatically be taken to that site. But as I continue to scroll down, you'll notice that there are 3 tabs that are available to me. A course playlist tab, a subject area playlist tab, and a certification playlist tab. And I'm going to show you the difference between all 3 of those as we work through them. But right now I'm trying to determine which of these playlists would be appropriate for me as I'm teaching this course called Career Investigations. So what I'd like to show you is under course playlist, just so happens our team has already mapped all the lessons that would be required to teach the Virginia Career Investigations course. So I'm going to obviously choose this as my playlist. Then I'm going to scroll up, and let me zoom out just a little bit. And I'm going to click Add Course. So see how now it's under the Add Courses Added menu. Now I'm not going to click Finished yet, because in addition to teaching this, I saw some stuff over here under the subject area playlist that I thought would be very helpful for my middle schoolers. Now, before I go any further, I would like to talk about playlist with you a little bit more. I wasn't raised on iTunes. I didn't even get introduced to that until I was an older adult. So I had a really hard time explaining what a playlist was for a teacher or for a subscriber. So I'd like to explain that a playlist is like a virtual textbook. So inside of each one of these virtual textbooks or playlist, there are tons of materials, lesson after lesson. And inside of those lessons, there's all kinds of stuff like PowerPoints, videos, worksheets, answer keys, quizzes, activities, projects. I mean, it is packed with material. So I thought that calling them or explaining them as a virtual textbook might explain what these are for when you're choosing them. But I noticed there was a playlist over here under the subject area playlist that's called personal development. And I've decided my middle schoolers definitely need help with personal development. So I chose that. Hold on just a minute. Oops. Well, Jamie. There we go. Okay, so what I wanted to do is set up a personal development course, and I'm going to use this playlist right here. And then I'm going to click add course. Okay. But then I also want to add another course under the certification playlist. You'll notice that these playlists, and let me zoom in so you can really see them. What happened was we had organizations or industry leaders come to us once they found out that we provided online content. These organizations came to us. So the Center for Financial Responsibility, Express Employment Professionals, and Southwest Airlines Southwest Airlines, they came to us and explained that they would like help creating a course and a certification test that they felt was really important for students or adults even to have on their resume or to be able to demonstrate they had knowledge of that. So this one's for personal financial literacy. This one is for career preparedness. And that's the one I'm actually going to use as our example today. This has a bunch of lessons on, what you need to know to be prepared for finding a job or what you need to do to prepare for a job, preparing for the interview, whatever. So those lessons are very valuable, especially to our seniors and our juniors in the high school level. But those lessons are very helpful. So I thought it would be good for me to add that course as well, because I want you to see how different that looks. So here's that course that I had set up prior to us meeting, but then here are the three that I just added. Notice that certification course has the little emblem at the end of it to indicate it is a certification prep course. Nonetheless, all of these courses are set up the same way, the format of them. So logistically, what I teach you today could be used in all of our sites. So it's all set up the same format, and all of the methods I'm showing you today would be helpful no matter which site you chose and no matter what state you're located in. So I'm glad you're here today. I would like to show you though, now that we've looked at the My Courses and we've learned how to create them, I want to show you how, knowing that we have this career investigations course set up, I set that one up previously. So I'm going to open it either by clicking on the name of it or by clicking on view, and it opens it up to show me the list of lessons. So look at all that. It is amazing how many lessons they have put in here. And in Virginia, I don't know how it is in your state, but it really varies how many weeks. The state gives the division the choice of how long the course is. Well, this would take like a year at least to cover all this content. So what I want to show you next is wonder if I'm a teacher that I only have 9 weeks to cover the competencies. So obviously I need to kind of change some things on this course. So I'm going to click this customize this course button. And what it does, and let me zoom out for just a minute so you can see it from a big picture angle. It splits my screen in half. On the right-hand side are all the lessons that our team has put into the course. Remember, we chose a course playlist and it's already been designed. But notice that I have the freedom to remove lessons if I wanted to. Now, I always caution my subscribers, don't worry about removing lessons. It's really not going to hurt for you to leave them there. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you later how you can hide all of these lessons from your students and they'll never know what's there. And it's important that you always need backup lessons, especially if you have some students who are gifted and you want to be able to give them an opportunity to further their knowledge or to keep busy while you're working with your students who may take a little bit longer completing the content. So I did want to point out that while you can remove, let's say that I want to remove plant systems. I would click remove. It goes over into this left-hand side. And let me do this real quickly. Since I'm a rep, it gives me access to everything. So let me narrow it down to just the career exploration. And it puts it over here on the left-hand side into this huge bank of lessons that you could add any lesson to your content on the right. But I'll be honest with you, I'm looking for the P's and it looks like it's going to take me a while to get to the P's. So how about instead I type in the lesson I mistakenly removed and I can click go. And there is that lesson. I can add it back in. And notice that it doesn't go back in order. It goes to the very bottom of my list. So if I want to move this up because I happen to be an A-type personality and I want everything in a certain order, then I can move that up. See how I'm clicking and dragging those arrows? And I want to put it under the agriculture cluster because this is a pathway under the agriculture cluster. So I'm going to slide this up here so that it is in the right order. So where are there it is. There's the Exploring Careers cluster for agriculture, food, and natural resource. Now I've got my lesson back. Now that's another thing I want to point out is that even though I'm an A-type personality, I have quickly learned the order of these lessons really doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because like I said earlier, you're going to hide all of this from your students and they're never going to know what order everything is in. I'm going to show you how you can make a lesson visible to them at a certain time. And that way they're not confused about which lesson to do, or they're not having to search a long list of lessons. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. Now, again, over here on the left-hand side, I can search for lessons based on a word, or I can flip page by page and go to those lessons. Now, I had wanted to highlight that these lessons called A Job to Find, that series is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of those lessons to my content simply because I might not get to them, but I do want those to be available because I think the students would really enjoy them, and it'll help me to make them more aware of some of these jobs that maybe they would not have been aware of in their little circle of the world. So I did want to point out that this process is called, look up here where we are, it says customizing the course. Additionally, this area right here under the blue bar, can you see those words right here? That is your breadcrumbs. So it tells you where you are in the platform. Where am I right now? I'm in the customizing the course process. Whenever you're customizing though, don't forget to click finished, or you're going to lose all that customization that you just did. So now my course, if I click on it, I have all those new lessons. They're at the bottom and I can use them if I need to use them. So that's a feature that I wanted to show you called the customization process. So again, when you go up here to the top to your breadcrumbs, if I want to go back to the list of my courses, I would click My Courses. We're trying to get you out of the habit of using the back button in iCEV. simply because it's really important for you to realize sometimes the back button will take you all the way back. And then you forgot where you were. It's hard to, okay, I can't remember what lesson I was in. Well, if you use your breadcrumbs, that really does help you to navigate, where you are and how to get back and so forth. But what I'd like to do right now is kind of show you around inside of a lesson. I've shown you how to set up a course and how to customize it. But now I want to show you how you can, what a lesson actually looks like and what you can do inside of that lesson. So our team has put a whole bunch of content inside of each lesson, but let's use this Exploring Careers, Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. That's the one I'm picking on today. And I'm going to go inside of that lesson by clicking View. Now I'm going to zoom out real quick and let you see it from a big picture, kind of standing off. And if you were just looking at this, you would kind of figure out, okay, well, I can tell this is a video, but what else do I got? Well, that's what I want to go over with you today is once you go inside of a lesson, and I'm talking any of our lessons, the format is pretty much the same. And I always encourage my teachers, make sure you click the View Lesson Plan button. So see that button right there? When I click on it, notice that a new tab opens. See up top here, I've got 2 tabs open. So here's the lesson itself, but then I clicked on View Lesson Plan, and now I see the lesson plan. And a lesson plan it tells you everything that's available to you. So our team has put a ton of content in there, and I'm going to warn you, there's no way you can use all this content in one class sitting. But their philosophy is that they would rather give you too much content than not enough, because they really want the teacher to have choices on how they cover this content. So here's the lesson plan. It tells you this is a video that's 47 minutes. Let me zoom in. It makes it easier for you guys. Here's the goal. Here's the description. Here's the objectives. Virginia is not a Common Core state, so it tells me how it's mapped to the core area. But in Common Core states, it does map it to the Common Core and how it supports that. But then on this next page, it shows you the lesson plan and how you can start using, it gives you all the suggestions for covering this topic of agriculture, food, and natural resources. So they always talk about how you could use the media, and the media is either going to be a video or a PowerPoint. So at first it tells you, you could use our video, and here's class number 1, class 2, class 3. And our classes are based on a 50 to 50 minute class. So if you teach on a block schedule, you might be able to get a little bit further than our lesson plan indicates, and that's fine. But our classes are based on a period rather than a block. Then as you look, some people say, nope, I don't want to use I don't want to use the video. Let me see what else you've got. So what they do is they always give you these lesson links. The lesson links are URLs that you could use to have your students do some research, or you could have them do a project at that URL. Additionally, we provide you with something called Career Connections. Let me show you that real quick. I'm going to go back to the lesson detail right here. Remember how we saw the video right here? All you have to do, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. All you have to do is pull this arrow down, and you are given all of these career interviews with people talking about this cluster, agriculture, food, and natural resources. It's really cool that you can have virtual guest speakers, and you don't have to worry about all the process that you have to go to when you have a live guest speaker. So I wanted to point out that we always give you at least one career interview that you could have your students watch. Additionally, we always provide you with suggested lab activities and projects that you could have your students do. Some people don't want to have their students what they call sit and get. They want them actively engaged. And believe it or not, most of these activities can be done at home as well as the projects. Now you've got to determine if this is something that needs the additional materials, but nonetheless, these are suggestions for you in the lesson plan on how you could cover this topic. So this lesson plan is pretty large. Now, looking at the lesson itself, after I click on that, I go further down and there's that video. I've already showed you where the career interviews are. Also notice that we always provide you with a way to jump to a segment in the video so that you don't have to use the fast forward feature. Or if you finished all the way through number 3 or section 3, the next day you can start on number 4. I do want to tell you this video is 7 minutes and 13 seconds, but then you've got this section down here that if you click on it, it opens up a menu and all of the resources that our team has created and are referred to in the lesson plan. So looking back at this lesson plan, if you see something that is italicized, that means it is an item that our team has created for you. So the worksheet, the vocabulary handout, whenever you see italicized words, that means it's an item that our team has created, and you'll most likely find it under instructional materials. So you click on that, it expands, and there is your list of resources. So you've got activities, projects, you've got a vocabulary handout. Notice what happens when I click on that. It opens it up in a new tab, and it is also a PDF version of that document. Excuse me. If I keep opening up these resources under the instructional materials, again, there's a worksheet. You could send this worksheet as a PDF to your students and allow them to complete that worksheet while you're showing them the video in a webinar. Now, some of my subscribers have explained to me that they can take a PDF and convert it to an editable document, and that can be done through Canvas. I've heard of Cami. Somebody said that Canvas has an editable, like where you can copy and paste material. I don't know Canvas, and I don't know Schoology. I know Google Classroom has Google Docs. So I've heard people using that, taking our PDFs and putting the material there, and that's fine. We're fine with you doing that. And then sharing that with the students so that they can edit it. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to stop for just a minute and explain to you how our subscriptions are available. You can purchase iCEV as a teacher only, and then you would have access to what you're seeing here, the media, a video that you could show your students through a webinar. You could show these career interviews in a webinar, but the students would not see those themselves. They would only be able to view it with you. Or you could open up the instructional materials and download a video transcript to send to them. Now that's not as good, but I have heard of people using this video transcripts for their students, English language learners. And they will take that transcript and then transcribe it for them, for the English language learners, so that they can complete the assignments. I will explain that if this medium or media was a PowerPoint, then that would also be included as one of our downloadable items. You would get access to that PowerPoint. The videos are the only thing that cannot be downloaded. Everything else under instructional materials, you're welcome to download and share with your students. We always give you the worksheet answer key, and I always tell people, you don't have to go watch that 7-minute video to know what it covers. Just look at the worksheet answer key. Sometimes it's called the teacher notes, and that's fine, but it'll tell you everything that is covered on that video or in that PowerPoint. So I encourage you to always go to your instructional materials area and investigate what would prepare you to deliver the lesson. So if you bought a teacher subscription, teacher only subscription, you would have access to everything I've shown you so far. But if you wanted to, you could include with your teacher subscription the student subscriptions. And that's where the interactive materials are really neat and they come in handy. So if you buy the student subscriptions, the students would have their own login and they would be able to access these assignments that are interactive instead of a PDF. So let me show you what they look like. I'm going to look at the vocabulary assignment. So instead of, them doing a matching or whatever for vocabulary, it's a drag and drop, and they would just drag the words up there, and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, so don't judge me. And then when they're done, it would grade it automatically for you. So the students could get it graded. Notice it saves it automatically. So it's saved to the cloud. If the student would, if there was a fire drill, or if mom called to them and said, I need you to take out the trash, they would automatically come back and be able to pick right up where they left off. Even if their computer crashed, it's automatically saved. So I'm not going to submit this when I finish, but that's what it would look like for the student. They would click yes, and it would submit it and answer, show them whether they got it right or whether they got it wrong. There's even an option where after they submit it, you could let them see the corrected answers, which is so valuable for the learning process. If a student can participate in an assignment, submit their work, and it be graded automatically, and they see the corrected answers, that is so valuable for the learning opportunity, for the learning situation, because they'll learn right away from their mistake instead of trying to remember, did I put that answer? Automatically, they'll see that they got it wrong, and they'll remember it, most likely remember it for the assessments that come along. So I did want to show you kind of the bigger picture of the lesson and introduce the instructional materials and interactive materials so that you're aware of what's included in a lesson. But I'm going to go back to my breadcrumbs and go back to the course where it lists all of the lessons. And I kind of want to show you around this right-hand side over here where you can see that because I chose a playlist that had a VA in front of it, I have this document called the standards alignment. And if I click on that, this is the document that our team created to show me that here's your pacing guide. Here is how the CEV lesson supports your standard over here on the left, and then a more pacing guide, and then an additional mapping CEV lessons to your competencies. So that standards alignment document will only be available if your state abbreviation is in front of that playlist name. But that can be done for your state, just like it's been done for several courses in Virginia and multiple courses in North Carolina and in Alabama. And your state may already have that available. So you may already know about the standards alignment document. Another feature,
can I stop you for just a minute?
Please do.
There's a question over here. April Gorby, would you look at there? She's got 2 questions here that you might want to show right in here.
Which ones? The one that says, can you assign some assignments to different?
That's the first one, yes.
Let's see, can you assign some assignments to do different? I don't understand that question. Like, let them explore the courses of their interest, but not all of them.
Right. So if you have a student, like there's like 47 courses here, they're obviously not going to get to do it all. So after they do their assessment that shows their interest in what they're, where they would want to go, and let each student have 5 different areas that they explore, so they can explore in depth the one they care about and not have to sit through the ones that they really don't. Okay.
Absolutely. You could set it up like that. And I'll show you in just a minute how you can set it up to show these lessons on a certain timetable. So I'll readdress that, April. So thank you for that question, and thank you for explaining it further.
And go down just a little bit to your other question here.
Sure. It says, is it possible to assign just part of the video PowerPoint, like assign only section 1, because it won't let you assign the videos more than once. But usually I only want 1 or 2 sections per day. Actually, I had a teacher want to do that very same thing. She wanted to break that video down into little videos. You can't break down our videos, but you can break down our PowerPoints. They can be downloaded so that you can create mini PowerPoints. Oftentimes, our PowerPoints are like 100 slides. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no teacher in their right mind would ever show a PowerPoint with 100 or more slides, actually more than 20. But what they explained to me is that they know that teachers are going to customize it, and they want to give them every bit of information they possibly can, but they expect that teacher to, customize it and use the slides they want to use and get rid of the slides they don't want to use, and then make it personalized for them. But as far as our videos, you would have to click on, like, let me go into this one and see. Nope, that's not let me go back to where I was. For as far as our videos go, you would have to have the student click on the section that you would want them to go. Like, you would tell them in the instructions, I only want you to watch sections 1 and 2 and 4 and 5, or whatever. You would have to provide them with that instruction.
Okay, but you can't, like on Google Classroom, you can't set it to only do those pieces.
Right. You could not do that. Right.
Also, in our lesson plan, when we talk about how long some of the PowerPoints are, but it's broken down by day, how many you watch, like watch slides 1 through 16, and then do particular exercises or projects that go along with those 16.
Right.
I do that, but if you assign it to Google Classroom, then it gives them the whole thing. And I have kids that, you tell them 1 through 16, but then the next day they're like, oh, I did all 127 of them, so I don't have to do anything today.
Well, don't forget, your PowerPoints can be broken down. You can separate those. The only ones you cannot edit and break down into smaller segments are our videos. PowerPoints, you can download the PowerPoint and create your own and just give them slides through 1 through 10. Then 11 through 20, and and have them do it little bit at a time. I hope I answered your question well, April, but make sure you continue asking questions in our chat box. I appreciate you asking those. Those are great questions. Okay, so let me go back. I was showing you in this list of lessons right here. I showed you the standards alignment document, but now I want to show you this special population strategies document. If I click on that, it opens up in a new tab. This has been very popular. Everybody knows that in CTE classes, you get such a wide range of ability levels and learning styles. So this really was popular to help our subscribers and our special populations support staff know how iCEV could be used to serve them. So here, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. We show you the definitions. Obviously, everybody pretty much knows the definitions of your special populations, but notice we range from individuals with disabilities. We address all of these all the way to your gifted and talented. So this document would help a teacher know how to serve that special population. We have all these strategies in this document that would help you know how to customize it for that special needs learner. So with that in mind, let me show you. I'm going to go back to my list of courses, and knowing that I have 4 students who are have IEPs, and I need to kind of customize what they do, I'm going to show you how you can take that career investigations course that I created, and I'm going to show you how you could create a second course by copying it. And I'm going to call this course B to indicate that this is, a separate course. And in this course, I'm going to have a separate list of activities for them to do. It's going to be a little bit different. And also, I'm probably not going to give them the same expectations on due dates. So I did want to point out how easy it is to differentiate in iCEV. I can even create a course specifically for one student. There is no limit to the number of courses that you create. I just wanted to point that out as we're talking about the teaching strategies for special populations. Okay, I'm going to go close a bunch of these tabs so that I can take you back into this and continue talking about this students menu over here where you would manage your roster. That's where your student names would be and their usernames in case you needed to remind them their username or reset their password. The course grades report, a rather large grade report, so I don't encourage you using that one, but instead use the student grades report that is within the lesson. It's a smaller report, so I'll show you where that is. See the student grades report? It's not quite as large as this course grades report. That one is huge. There's also a way to see all the instructions that you would send to your students in your LMS in order to get them involved or enrolled in your course. I'm going to go over this create assessment in just a minute, but it's pretty cool and I want to save that till the very end. But I also wanted to show you this area over here called settings. Do you remember earlier that I think I was referring to April that you could hide lessons from your students? Let's be honest. If your students were to log in and see this entire list of lessons, they'd freak out, they'd start whining, and then they'd start asking tons of questions. So we need to hide it from them so that we are not inundated with their questions and they're not freaking out. So right under lesson visibility, I'm going to click show settings and notice it defaults to visible to students. Well, I want to hide all of these. So I'm going to click hide all under lesson visibility and it'll automatically hide all of these lessons from the students. Now earlier, April was asking about making lessons available to them and you would have them do those lessons based on their interest, what the results of their interest inventory. So let's say tomorrow I want my students to be able to do the career cluster inventory. So I'm going to say visible on a date and I'm going to make it the 6th. But then all of the pathways I want to be visible after that date as well. Actually, I'm going to make it on the day after. And I'll go through here and find all of my pathways. I'm sorry, not my pathways, my cluster lessons. I'm going to make them all available on the 7th so that students can then go explore that path, that cluster a little bit more. But then after that, if I want them to do the clusters, you would absolutely be able to make that available to them. Just turn on visible to students for all of those pathway lessons. Also under settings, you can hide all of your lesson activities and assessments. Certainly you want to hide the answers, the printable activities, or those PDF documents. You want to hide those from the students. And you can decide if you want to hide the PowerPoint and the video from them. Now remember, this would only be required if you purchase student seats, this lesson visibility. If you bought a teacher subscription only, you wouldn't have to worry about the visibility. The kids would never see anything because they don't have a seat themselves. But let's go back up here to the create assessment. I want to show you this. It is really cool and it's very useful nowadays because many of us are having to show that a student has made progress in your class. So you could set up a pre-test and then go find all of these questions from, let's say I only want to include the, sorry, I keep choosing the wrong ones, from the cluster lessons. I only want to include material from the cluster lessons. So I'm going to choose a bunch of these and then I'm going to quit because I'm running out of time. But I'm going to choose a bunch of those and then I'm going to go down here at the very bottom and I'm going to click next. And then I would click find items. And then you'll notice that a whole bunch of material populates. And it pulls questions from everywhere. It pulls it from the vocabulary assignments. It pulls it from the assessments. It pulls it from the student worksheets. That's what that is. It pulls questions from the student notes. So I did want to say this is a little bit overwhelming, and Kay taught me in a previous workshop how to narrow this down to only include questions from the assessments. So first I want to search only questions from the assessments. So then it narrows it down, and these are the questions that are available. I can click preview, look at that question and say, yes, this one I definitely want them to know. Do I want this one? Yes, I definitely want them to know this material. And as I'm previewing it, I can decide, no, I really don't want them to have that. Then here's a multiple choice. I may decide to put that in there. But additionally, I want to include some questions from the vocab. I love the vocabulary drag and drop assignments. So I'm going to type vocab. Notice there's an underscore in front of it. And then I'm going to click search, and then I can go choose some from, let's pretend like I decided that these are also some that I want. So now I've chosen 6 items all together, and I'm going to click add 6 items, and it tells me it was added. So then I go up here and click back, and then there are all my questions that I put on here. And Kay showed me earlier that if you wanted to reorder these and have a vocab in between each of the multiple choice, you could do that. Whoops, aimed and missed. So now we've got it kind of separated a little bit more, and then I'm going to click save, and I'm going to return to the course page. Now this pretest will occur at the very bottom of your list of lessons. So here's this one that I just created. This one was one I created earlier. I'm going to go ahead and remove that one just because we created a new one. And I want to demonstrate that right away, the students, if they have a student seat, they're going to be able to see that. So if you don't want them to see it, you need to uncheck it. This show details box allows your students to see the corrected questions. So if they miss some, it's going to show them the correct answer. Notice that we have this deactivate on date. Maybe you want to tell the students they've got to take the pretest by Friday. You could do that. However, I'm not really comfortable for doing that with my, remember we have another group of students that we created another course for. I don't want them to have this deactivation. So I'm going to make a copy of this pretest in that course. And I'm going to click copy. And now that assessment was copied over to your Career Investigations B, where your special needs students are. And again, I had done this one previously, so I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to get rid of this deactivate on date. I'm going to leave it open-ended for them so that they know that they can do it as soon as they can, and it's not going to be deactivated. So those are some of the features that we wanted to highlight with you today about the iCEV platform. And I hope you've learned something new today, or I hope that you are interested in learning more.